what's up? If you're watching this back later, go to patreon.com/TMSV and you can get access to some exclusive track breakdown videos. I upload a video every month. And that's it. I mean, there's other videos now than just track breakdowns, but that's my quick PSA. Not a very long stream/video today. Kids sleeping, I'm at home. It's the weekend, so let's work on some stuff. I'm trying to finish this bit for my new EP on my label, Perfect Records. And if I don't finish it within the next 3 or so days, I think I'm gonna have a problem with my label manager, which I don't want, of course. Shout out Yuri. Checking if the stream is working. Yep. What's up, Lacuna boy? How are the levels? I'll turn on the turn on Ableton a bit. This should be better balance-wise. If it isn't, let me know. Right. Let's make sure that this whole bit is done. This is gonna be a very functional kind of track, I think. I think what this needs is some sort of drum roll or something. So let's find something that would work. Fills. This would be a fitting kind of thing. I don't think anything is happening there. Right. Let me pause Dropbox sync for a second. There we go. So before I add that fill, I think the snare is a bit too loud still. I keep fixing the snare and then jamming the whole mix into saturation, which I love, obviously, you know me. But that does mean that when I turn it back down, the snare does pop out a bit too much. So let's fix that really quickly. This is okay for now, I think. Yeah. Cool. All right. The fill. I mean, not that, but set it to beats, because why not? And it's not gonna be exactly that. We need to process it, stuff, but do that to the 2 beats again. It does have the transients pinned correctly, and then we'll select the groove that we're using. That's a bit too much, isn't it? Maybe I'll just you automate this? No, you can't. I'll do it by hand and make it a bit less swingy. But it does need to have some swing to it, I think. That's good. Between this is 7, and right there 8, maybe. That's fine. Cool. That doesn't sound very good, that reverb, does it? That weird grainy sound it has to it, I don't like that very much. We can try this. Try if it works there. The 4 hits don't work very well. I think maybe 3. Yeah, that's better. And then maybe it needs some extra reverb on there. Oh, I automated the track level by accident. There we go. Okay, why is that bass messing with that cymbal so much? I mean, it's because of the saturation in the master, but there's too much of it happening, I feel like. Okay, what's making this bass so dynamic? I can just limit this or clip this, I think. Start with clipping, and if that sounds bad, we'll just limit it. By the way, the washing machine is quite close to my workspace right now. Hopefully that doesn't interfere with the mic too much. How does that compare to the rest of the bass dynamic? Let's see. I mean, that's super loud because there's mids there too. That click coming from the... Yeah. There we go. That's about touching the max curve there. It's a bit much. Maybe we'll turn it down in a bit, but first make sure that these are about the same-ish level. Yeah, this is fine. And then the one that we were looking at just now. Right, needs more bass and less clickiness, but like the clicks of this going too fast and not being smooth enough are what's giving this bass its sound, but maybe a little less clicky will do. Does that matter in terms of this? Maybe a bit. Okay. Do some more clipping. That's fine. I mean, there's maybe if we take away the erosion plugins, you can hear the clipping. A tiny bit, not really. Fine. That's nice. And maybe we can limit it now to... I always limit the bass bus in the end too. Well, not always, but with this like loud stuff I do. Okay. Does take care of some of the dynamics, but it probably turns down the sub a bit, yeah. That's good. Maybe before it goes into the clipper, we'll just do another EQ and get rid of some of this mid, maybe. That's probably good like this. It's fine. That's cool. Oh right, no, the initial idea I had with this EQ was to boost the sub a bit, but that doesn't really work right now because it needs less limiting now. I think the entire sound just needs to come up a bit. Let's see. There we go. A little less of this. No way. Here. That's pretty good. That works. Okay, listen to the whole thing again. Not the whole thing, but I'm halfway through the build up or something. 3/4 through the entire intro. Zulimir Doot says, nice work, senpai. Arigato. the way, again, I don't know if I mentioned it again, but this stream also is completely dependent on when my daughter wakes up, and then I'm gonna hang out with her. Hopefully, I stream until 3-ish local time, so that's about 40 more minutes. 40 minutes to an hour, say. I can't wait to test this track on a big sound system. I have plenty of opportunities pretty soon. That's cool. Got some gigs coming up. And on the kick a bit. There we go. Actually, another channel EQ on the kick itself, because you'll notice probably sounds a bit better with some of that mid cut off. Not all the way there, but it does need some knock to it, but maybe not that much, yeah? That'll do for now. We'll see how that goes. Okay, again. By the way, if you're watching this back on YouTube, I know some people do. If you leave a comment, I might not always respond very quickly because I'm usually logged into my personal account, not my TMSV account. Switching is always kind of a thing, and so I forget to reply. But I do read everything. So if you have any suggestions or feedback or anything you wanna tell me, or just any comment you wanna leave, feel free to. And I'm not really planning on removing all of my streams right away from YouTube or anything. I might at some point in the future. But if you're watching this on Twitch and you want to watch it back in, like, you know, past the moment where the VOD is taken down from Twitch, it's all on YouTube. I'll see if I can make a playlist or something. But you can just go to the live tab and it'll all be there probably. I think that's the easiest. Eat Something says, instead of pressing spacebar twice to replay it, hold Alt Option and press space. Yes. So like, I think it's Control. Yeah, it's Control on Windows. The thing is, it's so ingrained in my muscle memory to hit the spacebar twice. That might have even come from like my FL Studio days too. I don't think that's ever going to change, but I realize that with this clicky clacky keyboard. You're probably just noticing because I'm stopping and restarting it, right? It does give the ears a minor break maybe also, instead of going all the way there. Like gives the sound time to reset if you're looking for a phase problem or something. But that's just sort of like me doing copium, or doing something less effectively than I maybe could. Oh right, there is that drum roll that I made better than the other place. Does need something, doesn't it? We start with some saturation. Why is the... Oh, it's not set to rank. Okay. I know what this needs. It needs some zips, blips, and lasers. I'll get to those in a second. First, let's see if that nice reverby clap is here somewhere. Maybe this one will work. Am I gonna put that on the drums thing or the FX? Right. Why not? One. Toronto's guy, what's up? Okay, Joe says the dubstep sample pack you put out recently is insane. Thanks for that. Thank you very much. Awesome. Yeah, I'm really glad that people are finding use for it, or at least lots of people have been buying and supporting it. So I hope that people are using it too. But yeah, nothing worse than buying a sample pack that turns out to be pretty mid, and I believe, judging by the feedback, that people are pretty stoked on it. Good. Nice. Like something needs to lead into that drop from the drum roll. So it's funny. I've never been I was never a drummer, you know, and I feel like producers who are drummers, like my friend Pythias, who does like neuro drum and bass and stuff. I think his, even though he makes much more like tonal music with like riffs than I do, his sensibility with like how drums should fit, even though it's drum and bass, I think that just is a bit different in how you approach production. And I always try to think about drums in certain ways, but thinking of him like a drummer is still quite difficult. I think that does have like some benefits. I'm sort of rambling now, but what I'm trying to say is like a lot of linear drumming, or thinking about like, hey, you usually wouldn't have like a kick drum and then a snare hitting on the one or something together, or you can't have like an open hi-hat and a closed hi-hat at the same time. That kind of stuff can help with simplifying and sort of like writing with more intention when you're making drums, because a lot of like drums in electronic music that aren't very good are too cluttered, or like have weird layering, or just don't really make sense. And making them make sense, like it's better to have a very simple drum loop that makes total sense than a drum loop that is sort of like not quite there but has 1,000 elements, you know. Genius take, I know. Anyway, if you're in the chat right now, let me know where you're listening in from, where you're watching from, is what I mean. And also what you're gonna have for dinner tonight. I asked yesterday and nobody replied, so I'm just gonna try again. Because dinner is important. Okay, I've gotten too used. I mean, again, I'm just like listening to stuff that stands out, and I keep forgetting to fix the stuff that I said I was gonna fix. But that's just how I make music. This synth line, I think I have gotten too used to how this progresses, and I think it needs to be more interesting. I think it's fine that it's like kind of like dirty and clicky and stuff, but it does need to wash out a bit more. So we're just gonna go for the tried and true Valhalla vintage verb washout that I should really put some more time into making some presets for, because well, I mean, you know, I might. That works, I think. The only thing with washing stuff out with reverb is if it's quite rhythmic, it can be it can make it sort of like cluttered and shitty, but I think it should work. Let's listen to it in solo and then see what it does. Okay, Joe says, also as a drummer who makes drum and bass, it almost seems to be that non-drummer producers seem to make better drums most of the time. Really? Because they don't adhere to like drummer sensibilities or like the rules of drumming, or what do you mean? I have to say, I am kind of shocked at how even good drummers that I've been around who make electronic music don't really seem to get the groove right of a lot of stuff. I don't know what that is, but I don't know. I'm a stickler for like a nice swing and like lazy pockets and stuff. Let's draw for the thing again. Where is it? The other Valhalla thing. I just love the Valhalla stuff, even though some of it just has noise floors, and I have to like do stuff to make sure it doesn't. There's no like weird noisy artifacts. Like, I don't know if you can hear it now. I have my direct monitoring on as well, so it's kind of. All right, there we go. Okay, so if the mix of this is set to above 1%, you can hear that it's already working on doing something. So I've had like projects that I've opened, and there's an OTT on a channel, and then there's an OTT on the channel that the group that channel is a part of, and there's an OTT on the master, something like that. And there's just like noise happening, and if it's very low, it doesn't even really show up on the meter in Ableton. So it's taken me a while to figure out where it was coming from. And it was Valhalla Freak Echo, and sometimes it's Valhalla Delay. Both great plugins, but with some of the modes, I do have to just put a gate after it or automate the on and off switch. But it could just be on like minus like 60 dB or something. Set the release to maybe a second, and then like there's barely a gate there at all. Like it doesn't really do anything. Actually, maybe set it to a bit higher because it does seem like it was pinging it a bit. Anyway. Yep. Just need to make it a bit more weird here, and it just needs to be like this plugin just needs to be on for that bit, so it doesn't even need the gate. So we'll just put it there, and we'll press Control E to cut it, and then make this a different color. I like to do that. Automate the feedback too. Maybe the mix. Oh, the mix is already. That's pretty cool. If you hear a tiny high-pitched moan every now and again, that's my daughter, who is currently sleeping and recovering from an operation, and she's still like teething and stuff. There's a big old molar coming through right now. She's not very happy about that. She's rolling around now. Okay, let's turn on the mix a bit. Yes, exactly. It's almost as if the lack of knowledge of how drums should be seems to make people see drums a bit more creatively, I guess, whereas I sometimes feel like I'm in a box. Yeah. It's like that with all, like, music writing and music production, I feel like. I find myself having to unlearn a lot of things, especially, like, well, I'm past the received wisdom part of it, where everything is like, you shouldn't, you know, produce with a limiter on the master, or, make sure that your kick and your bass are never playing at the same time or always exactly mono, or you should be mixing in mono, or you should always be mono compatible. All that kind of stuff. Like, yes, there's a reason why people say that stuff, but also a lot of that stuff isn't very relevant anymore. One of my favorites in that genre is mix with your ears and not your eyes. And it's like, that's very good advice if somebody has like $18,000 speakers in a completely treated, like spec'd out room. But I'm very glad that Vision 4X exists now, so that I don't need my series of monitoring plugins. I just have one thing, and I can just see what's going on. And it's not even that I mix purely visually, even though I do mix like predominantly visually in terms of like the choices I make are always based on something visual that's happening. But it's a good check on like if your ears are deceiving you. So like I wasn't really noticing how loud this thing was, and I need to check the rest of the mix. And if I turn down or turn off that saturation now, we can see it's balanced enough. I think it's fine. But sometimes one of those peaks is just like egregiously loud or whatever, and you need to listen to if your ears are perceiving the same thing as what's actually happening on a monitoring level. Like a very important thing about mixing with your ears versus mixing visually is that like this dynamics portion of it, you just can't really perceive this. These are very fast peaks that like you just hear a sub bass and like the mids and the drums and stuff. You can't hear that these transients are so much higher in amplitude than other stuff. And you can like agonize for days over the perfect mixdown and why is this section working and why isn't this section working. Just being able to see what's going on and see if you're hearing the same as what's actually happening is very good. So yeah, that's another rant. Another cool rant. If anybody has like any questions or whatever about what's happening or anything else music production related or anything else related, then let me know and I'll respond. So this does need to be tamed a bit. Okay, does that... Oh, it's pretty loud all the way through, isn't it? Okay. Does that come up as... Yes, it does. Okay, so what we could do there... I'll just make it a different... We'll make it a different color and then we'll automate this frequency. We could also do something with like dynamic EQ or multiband compression, or like node-based compression, like TDR Nova or FabFilter Pro MB, but we're just gonna do it by hand today. This is such a minor thing. There we go. It's just a few dB, and in my, I guess, production style, just a few dB is 5 or more, but whatever. Nice. Maybe a bit less extreme. There we go. delay send on there, make that a different color too. Might need a filter there too. Put on a low pass filter. I'm using the kilohertz filter because it's just like a nice and simple clean UI. You can just use like EQ8 or the Ableton filter or whatever, it doesn't matter. Some other kilohertz filters do have some more interesting modes, but it's just a low pass filter. It's just a filter. I don't know if it works, but let's put it before the reverb. Okay, and this also needs to go into this reverb send, because why have one if you can have both? Sorry about that tape delay thing. Okay, and this is one of those moments where rolling sampler is running here, right? We had a tiny thing going on there of that tail, that reverb tail or that delay tail still happening. So now we've caught that. Let's blow it up. And that could be like an intro sound or something. Maybe that's a bit overbearing, but we'll see. By the way, if you're looking for something to put on after this, I have an entire DJ set with Danny Skrilla from New Year's Eve on my YouTube channel. If you're on Twitch, you can go after this stream. Go to my YouTube page. If you're on YouTube now, just go to my channel and click that if you want. It's like I think it's an hour or an hour and a half of us playing all sorts of stuff, and it was very fun. And the people in the audience were so let's say enthusiastic about the night that I blurred out all their faces because they were enjoying themselves very much. And like I said on Twitter when I uploaded it first, I think people should be able to go like lose your job hard on New Year's Eve without fear of being filmed by a DJ, right? Anyway, that's a whole like side tangent, but it's a good DJ set, and I like my friend Danny very much, and we're a good DJ team together. Unfortunately, our very next back-to-back set we couldn't do because Danny was ill on that day in his own city of Munich, so I was there without him, and he was just in bed. It sucked. But we'll get another chance. Speaking of my friend Danny, go to perfectrecords.bandcamp.com and get his latest music, including a remix by myself. I feel like maybe that EP deserves another promo cycle. Pretty cool, this sound. I don't know if it makes it better, but... What's up, Jumanji? How's it going? I'll probably be doing a drum and bass stream pretty soon too. I recently finished up an EP. I was gonna do a drum and bass project as Captcha, which a name that Machine Drum came up with, and I was happy I claimed it, but I can't really afford to start a new project, so I'm just gonna do that as TMSV. I'm not gonna say what label it's coming out on, but it'll be announced in due time. But aside from that, it's been pretty difficult to start new drum and bass stuff because I need to sort of find a direction or that sort of thing. Like, it's easy for me to bang out like pastiche conflict bits that sound like they're from 2003, but I don't want to do that too much. So original TMSV drum and bass, also on stream, probably coming pretty soon, but I need to find my mojo first, is the point I'm trying to make. Whoa bass, what's up? Kimsey, I assume, I can't read that script, but, I will reply to your Instagram message as soon as I can. It's been intense, but yeah, I'll find some time. Really enjoying C-Strip. Yeah, C-Strip 2 by Air Windows is awesome and it's free. Got my settings corrected, by the way. Thank you. Oh, you got... Okay, so if you still... I'll look at the message, and if there's anything to reply to, I still will. Don't want to interrupt your creativity. That's all good. What do you do using Novatron, etc. when the kick seems to overpower everything, even when minus 3? So if you're using the Novatron compressor, what you can do if the kick is making... I actually haven't even compressed any of this yet. Let's do that. Let's do it live. We'll do it live. Fuck it. So if you start compressing stuff with Novatron, right? Let's compress it all the way. Like, this kick is still blowing up, and you can just like... You can change how much of the kick, how much of the low end it takes on the input. So it's a combination of that, and then... Okay, wait, let me... Turn this back down. It's a combination of like this high pass filter dial, and then also just like kind of fiddling at different stages with how loud the kick is and where exactly you can put like an EQ dip or something, because my kicks always start out nicely leveled and then they just kind of get blown up as I process the rest of my drum. So like if I do some saturation here, and if that kick is too loud, then I can put like maybe an EQ here, or use this low EQ here or something. And sometimes like the kick just is too loud in amplitude, and then what you can do is just go here and maybe see, like, you know, on the channel where the kick is, maybe do a tiny dip and see if that stops it from overpowering it. And you know, it kind of does. And sometimes you can maybe make the kick a bit shorter, for example, or change the shape of the kick, you know? Now, that was a good call anyway. Oh, there we go. Does that answer your question? Because if you have any more, if you need any clarification or something, just let me know. Jumanji says, I'm good, just finishing off my next jungle release. Use some of your 808s in the project. Awesome. Is there still that EQ? No. Yeah, like I said, I think yesterday on stream, I have some jungle that I need to finish. So now with these compressor settings, it so happens that if the high pass filter is all the way to 0, or I guess 9 Hertz, Like there's no kicks and snares in very quick succession here. So it does sound pretty good. I mean, it's compressed too much now, but like in terms of the curves of the compression and stuff, it does sound pretty good. And if I turn this up, then everything is compressed, but the kick really pokes through super loudly. So I'm gonna turn this down to there. Sorry about the washing machine, by the way. That's probably coming through on the mic. And if it isn't, I haven't mentioned it. I'm just gonna pretend I didn't. Okay, wearing open-backed headphones with the washing machine going crazy, like maybe you know, 5 meters, 15 feet from here. Not ideal, but we'll get there. Those hats are now too loud, and that's easy because I have a group of hats and I can just turn that down. And if it turns out all those hats need to get turned back up, I can just go back to that and turn them back up. I didn't expect them to need like an 8 dB attenuation, but stranger things have happened, I guess. So this kick does feel a bit too loud, but in terms of the mix, like, should be fine. Turn that down, it just like loses power a bit. Oh, and by the way, Kimsey, if you're using this same channel strip thing that you rebuilt from the Patreon video, something that I should really incorporate in it is maybe instead of the high pass and the low pass filters, or instead of one of these, or just add another like macro row. You can do that too, of course. Add a utility out so that if I turn up the input to make it like, to make the saturation engage a bit sooner and a bit more intensely, because the input level is higher, then there needs to be like an out too, because otherwise it'll just have like a super loud thing that you can't really turn down, and you have to always add a utility after the fact, and it just kind of sucks. But I think we're fine like this. This is all the way up, but another huge benefit of using loads of saturation at different stages is that, you know, first of all, it simplifies dynamics and mix downs. Like, it does the mixing for you. I posted on Twitter about this recently too, where it's like, I just like slam things into saturation and that kind of thing, and it adds so many harmonics and it makes things so flat that it's just a question of putting everything in its right place and leveling it. But there's no like intricate sort of like balancing and leveling going on with the mixdown. The mixdown just comes together when you write this way. But like I said, an added benefit is that if you have some like low end rumble or something, or anything that stands out too much, you can hear it very easily. So there's like an effect snare here. This one. So you can't hear it very well here, but together with the kit, with the snare, all right. You can hear that there's like a sort of a nasty Foley sound to it, which sounds good in isolation, I think, but it doesn't sound very good when it's in the mix. So get rid of some of that too, because that's a bit too pokey. I've been really discovering Soothe, by the way, Soothe 2, that plugin. It's pretty expensive, aside from like Black Friday deals and stuff, but it does fix a lot of stuff, like annoying resonances and stuff. Okay, so we can just get rid of this. And if you want this to have a tail, still, we'll just put a reverb there. Hey Groningen, what's up? And Razzle Fool? What spectrum analyzer is that? That is a Vision 4X. It's the noisier one. It's by Excite Audio. You can see the Vision label logo there. It's awesome. It's great. Yeah, if you guys wanna run down of my settings at one point, then I can do that. Not today, because in a few minutes I'm gonna have to go. Anywhere between like 5 and 20 minutes. So just hang with me here for a bit, make some music, and next time we'll get into more intricate stuff like the spectrum analyzer and stuff. But anyway, the thing with the spectrum analyzer is that it's just so useful. I barely use the stereo thing, but I use everything all the time. Especially this has been a game changer, where you can just like see a time-based representation of, like, you know, I know what what the spectrogram thing what it does, but the fact that you can use it in music production as a way to see this but on a timeline and see how full the mix is, like, hey, maybe like this sound, you know, has a bit too much rumble there, and you know, it relates to this sound in a way that, you know, makes sense to my ears, where like, yes, this is a bit louder than this, but does it need changing, etc. You can make decisions based on like much more information than just like this type of spectrum analyzer that is usually horizontal, but it's vertical here, so that it corresponds exactly to this view, and like this view then corresponds to this view. It's all very, very slick. Yeah, I guess that wasn't necessarily a super clear thing about Vision 4X, but I'm distracting myself, and now the washing machine is distracting me too. I can see little eyes open on the baby monitor, so I can wait for her to let me know that she wants to get picked up out of bed. Anyway, yeah, okay, focus. So Kimsey says, yes, pair together. You mentioned it in the template video. Did that today, didn't before. Oh, okay, cool. You were over starting easy. Yes, exactly. Always enjoying these streams. +1 on the Vision 4X settings in the future. Many thanks. Yes, hell yeah. Okay, cool. All right, 2 more minutes. My focus is back. Of course. They call me Mr. Focus. I don't know if you know that. Anyway, I talked so much that, you know, okay, so we had this sound, and it sounded just kind of like, it made this sound, made this snare sound kind of like dirty, and sounds like there's some noise happening there that shouldn't be there. So made this a much shorter sound. It does retain its timbre and sort of like sonic quality, but doesn't retain the noisy tail that it had. But now it's very short, so we'll add a vintage verb there. Nice. Bit less. bit more. Cool. Put a utility there, make it a bit less wide. Oh, there's one there too. That doesn't matter. Mono is cool too. And then the EQ. And that's how you spend like 10 minutes on a tiny, tiny sound while talking about how wasting time sweating the small stuff is nonsense. That's me. Okay, Joe says, exciting to see you making some drum and bass soon. Huge fan of all your jungle releases. Awesome. Yeah, I think like these days, jungle and drum and bass, especially in terms of production, are so different. But I do enjoy making drum and bass. And I always thought like technically I wasn't proficient enough at production, and these days I don't doubt myself in that department at all. It's more the writing and the coming up with something that is original enough to bother finishing, you know. Okay, this roll. Cool. And that works a bit better, I think. Yep. I think the beats, the warp algorithm was making this sound a bit strange. Because if you have it on beats and you reverse stuff and you start like messing around with it, I mean, I forget that it's working based on transients in the waveform and stuff, and usually I don't use beats. But the problem with this was that it felt too disjointed from the rest of the mix, so... Right. Delete this automation. And maybe turn these both down a bit. I'll just do that using a utility at the end there. Different EQ. And we can turn these back up. Minus 10 is a lot of dBs. Put it at minus 4 and just have the utility exist here. Okay, let's listen to it. The TMSV jungle sample packs have saved my ass so much already. That's awesome to hear. Thank you. Yeah, I tried to make those as usable as possible. Just include as many like breaks and layered breaks and 808s and stuff as possible. I think what makes jungle good most of the time is having like high quality samples to do that with, and then have like cool like jazz samples that you source yourself, and like all the writing of the stuff, all the sampling and making it unique isn't necessarily in the breaks and all that kind of stuff these days, because those need to be just high quality and standardized. Like, yes, you could come up with like new layered breaks and like all that kind of stuff. And some people do that, like drum funk guys, but what you want is like a good amen, and you don't want to spend too much time processing it because you'll get lost and it's gonna start to suck. Easy to chop up further too. Yeah, I think I put all the kicks and snares on the grid, and then all the shuffle stuff is more organic. And then they're all perfect loops, so there's no real scenario where any of those loops in those sample packs sounds like out of groove, or sounds like it's not looping properly, or not chopping properly, you know? Because from kick to snare, or from like, or if you put a slice every beat or every 2 beats, there's never a scenario where you get like weird transients popping out at the end of the slice or that kind of thing. Okay, this is pretty cool. I think this needs to maybe lead into a breakdown of some sort, or maybe we just won't do a breakdown at all for this one. And just because like this evolves into that like very techno-y, like I said. Maybe it's just cool to have this repeat, and then maybe keep the automation that makes that bass go zip, 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 for lack of a better term, or any term whatsoever. So that resonance. That's pretty cool. And now maybe we'll just put like a techno hi-hat loop there. 1 second. It's always like right before I need to stop streaming or stop making music that I come up with like a million ideas. It's basically the reason that now I have my like entire like studio setup, or at least my PC, one screen, my mixer and stuff, sound card, everything at home now, because I need to be at home for a few days. Girlfriend is doing some stuff with a few friends, and I'm taking care of our daughter by myself, but I need to finish the CP, so I have everything at home. And I'm just trying to, like, every hour that I'm not with the kid, I'm just trying to make some music. And then at the end of every session, I'm just like, oh wait, I can do this, 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 and this. And then that's when the bulk of the work happens. So I think the main takeaway from this, for me personally, would be to, if you're in a situation like this, or if you're worried that you don't have enough time to make music, just do it. And then, like, maybe in the last 15 minutes of the half hour you had that day, you'll do some cool stuff, instead of being like, I won't have enough time to get into it, because at least you got into it a bit, you know? And I'm mostly telling myself this, because if I don't have enough time, I often just don't bother starting up the computer and making music at all, especially at home, or, you know, when I can't get to the studio for whatever reason, I'm just on my laptop. Just make some music, just do it, and just, you know, have a system for rendering stuff out, or just make a little sample pack of stupid stuff you're making, or something like that. And any time you spend making music is good, I feel like. I don't know why I'm getting into these like meta rants about making music. But I'm sure nobody minds. I have this shaker already, so it's free for me even. Another drums audio thing. I think nothing's happening there. Dropbox is being difficult again. I didn't used to have any problems with Dropbox and Ableton running side by side, but these days I work from my Dropbox folder. These days, I don't know, doesn't always work super well. I get these error messages that it couldn't sync like a file that it's currently working with. That's pretty cool, I think. What if we make this come in there? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, this can maybe just go on for a little while, right? You don't have to have a breakdown and everything. See. Okay, now I really almost have to go. Okay, I'm just gonna turn this down a bit. Do a little outro thing. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll put on the standby screen to close out this video for a bit so you can see the Patreon link. If you want to support, then feel free. Don't feel pressured to. It's not like I do these streams because it's nice, and I do the Patreon breakdown videos because people wanted me to do them, and they're nice to do too, but they're two separate things. But you know, if you're a producer and if you want to learn some new stuff or learn how I do things anyway, then that might be a good thing to support me through. And also, April 6th, catch me at Give It Dub in Nijmegen in the Netherlands, and then April 12th in Utrecht, Kabul Agogo. May 4th, Utrecht 2, Reload. Lineup to be determined. Right, so thank you again for watching, and I'll be back soon. Maybe not daily like the past few days, but I will be trying to stream more regularly than I have, and this time I don't think it's, you know, I say that every time, but now I'm actually in a nice groove with streaming. So another very wordy outro. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section. As I said, I probably won't respond to them all, but I do read everything and take everything on board. The Patreon exists. Twitter, Instagram, follow me. There's Perfect Records, new EP coming soon with this track on it. New EPs by Danny Skrilla and Arkham Sound coming very soon too. Very exciting. Thank you very much. Yeah,